Where the World Plays. DP World ILT20 is back with Season 4. Get ready for Season 4 of the DP World International League T20, the UAE's premier cricket and entertainment experience, live from December 2nd to January 4th across Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah cricket stadiums. Featuring 6 powerhouse franchise teams, including the Abu Dhabi Knight Riders, the Desert Vipers, the Dubai Capitals, the Gulf Giants, the MI Emirates and the Sharjah Warriors, the tournament promises to showcase the world's top T20 stars. Fans can enjoy enhanced matchday experiences at Dubai International Stadium, including the Sixes Lounge for premium hospitality and the Sixes Family Lounge with Santa's Grotto and festive activities. The all-new Christmas Wonderland will transform match days into holiday-themed festivals with live entertainment, food stalls, games, giveaways and attractions, while families in Abu Dhabi and Sharjah can visit Santa's Grotto for gifts and photos. The excitement builds further with daily raffle draws offering shopping vouchers and luxury staycations, plus a mega prize of 4 gold coins and a brand new Audi A3. Combining world-class cricket, family fun and festive celebration, DP World ILT20 Season 4 is the UAE's biggest winter celebration of sport and community. For tickets, use the link in the description and go to Virgin Megastore Tickets now.
Hello, David.
Hi, Sam.
How's it going?
Really good. Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for coming down. I know you are super busy. Welcome to Tasty Humans. And for everybody watching, please introduce yourself and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm David White, CEO of DP World ILT20. As you can probably work out, I'm from the other part of the world. Down south, I'm a Kiwi. And yeah, looking forward to spending an hour with you.
Well, you have had an amazing career in sport and cricket your entire life. So I suppose my first question is, what is your first sporting memory?
I come from a small place in New Zealand called Gisborne, which is on the east coast of the North Island. 30,000 people. Interesting place, very strong Māori community, 50% Māori community. And my parents owned a dairy, what we call a dairy, which is a corner shop. And that corner shop was equidistant from the cricket ground and the rugby ground. So my memory of sport is very split. Rugby in winter, cricket in summer.
And so how did that start? How did you start to play? Which was the first one?
I think rugby.
Yeah.
Because being a Kiwi, and at the time when I was, 5, 6 years old or whatever, around that kind of time, in Gisborne or Poverty Bay, we had one of the great All Blacks played for us, a guy called Ian Kirkpatrick, who was a legend of the game. And he played at Rugby Park, which was 400 metres away, and my mates and I used to go and watch him train, and we played for our local rugby team as well. So he was a massive attraction for us. Ian Kirkpatrick, if your listeners can go and have a look, but he was one of the great All Black flankers. And so we were very attracted to watching him play.
And the All Blacks, and still are, utter beasts. I mean, I wanted to ask you when you say that, which is, how early were you doing the haka?
Well, the haka, interestingly, the haka was a bit of a joke early on.
Really?
Yeah, well, it was never treated seriously. It never, if you go back and look at the footage, it was terrible. But it wasn't until a guy by the name of Buck Shelford took it seriously. And so he was captain, I think, early 90s. He is Māori, and he took it seriously and said, right, no more of this silly white guys looking, doing a silly dance. So he grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and there was another guy at that time called Hika Reid from Nongataha. He's a Maori as well, and they then established doing the haka properly. And now it's become such an iconic thing, but it wasn't really taken seriously till the 90s.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
Have you done it like in the face of the opponents?
Oh yeah, very very much so. Now,
Yeah.
what's quite interesting with that is the school I went to was Gisborne Boys High, and I was in the first 15. And also in the first 15 was a guy called Derek Lardelli. Now, he's now Sir Derek Lardelli, and he wrote the latest haka.
Okay.
So when we were at school, I remember Derek because it was really interesting. He was really into his Māoritanga, which is his heritage. So and we're close mates, and every afternoon, once a week, he'd go and spend time with the elders, the Maori. And with the Maori community, nothing is written down. Mm-hmm. So he learnt the history of where he's from. And he now is he's been knighted. He's a carver and an artist, and he wrote the latest haka. So we at school we used to do a haka because we're a Maori school. We used to do a haka before every game that we played, and we took it really seriously.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does it feel? Like, because the thing with the haka is that it's one of these moments in any type of, you see it a lot in films and music and pop culture and sport, but where no one can imitate it. No one's tried to. I think Fiji are the other country that have a haka style.
In Samoa.
Samoa as well. But it's something that is so specific to New Zealand that the other rugby nations have not thought, you know what, let's try and do a throwdown at the beginning ourselves. And that means I look at that and I think no one would dare try to stand up to it in that way. Yes, you see the teams try and face you down. But yeah, what's it like to actually be standing there full of intimidation?
I think it's spiritual.
Yeah.
The place I come from is, like I said, a strong Māori community. And my uncle managed a farm on the coast for 35 years, and a lot of the guys I went to school with in the Māori community were there. So it's part of that community. And the farm was actually, have you ever seen the movie Whale Rider? It's quite a famous New Zealand movie. Yeah, it's a Whale Rider. Anyway, so. It was filmed, the farm is right on that beach called Whangarā. So we got schooled very well by Derek about the meaning and the spirit of the haka. So it's quite empowering and something we took very seriously.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What position did you play in rugby?
I played, I might not look like it now, but I played first five, fly half and fullback. But when I first started, I played in the forwards. Chubby little kid in the forwards.
Yeah. And how is it? I mean, I'm a big football fan. So whenever the first thing you always look at between rugby and football is you look at the contact and what I always think, what must rugby players think about football players? You know what I mean? Where you guys are smashing the granny out of each other and a football player will fall over his own laces and roll around like his back's broken, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think, when we grew up, it wasn't football, it was soccer. Mm-hmm. And we used to think there were a bunch of poofters, diving around. But actually, as you get older, and I actually watch a lot of football now, it's different contact, isn't it, around your ankles and knees, and it's a lot of the football is very physical as well.
Yeah,
I think that the theatrics sometimes of wanting to get a penalty and things probably don't do it justice, but I think football is quite physical now.
I think that people don't understand that if you're a winger and you're running at full pace and someone comes into the side of you, you're going to go over, and you can't. No one falls over and doesn't hurt themselves.
That's right. Amazing though, if you look at, to play the game of football though, the fitness levels are extreme. You look at Ronaldo now. I mean, God, and Messi and these guys are so fit. So you can't really mock the physicality at all.
I think but then of course with rugby, like it's. I mean, I look at it. I don't follow it. It was never a game that really kind of resonated with me. I think in the UK. At the time in the 80s and the 90s, it was like I went to a public school, and public school was very much football and basketball, where the private schools were more rugby and cricket. It's almost,
Absolutely.
especially with rugby, in you know, in the I suppose the 80s and the 90s, when you had like Will Carling and you had people like this. There they are, covered in blood, covered in dirt, doing an interview, and they're like, "Oh yes, it was a great game," you know. And that doesn't seem to make any sense at all, you know. But I always looked at it and I thought it's a brutal, brutal game.
Yeah,
you know.
quite interesting though. If you look at the size of the players now compared to pre-professionalism, so the game went professional 95, 96. New Zealand famously won the first World Cup in 1987, and if you look at the players, their weight and the size of them, you know, you had guys who were 80 kgs. Say a halfback, a scrum half was 80 kgs, or maybe even 75 kgs. But now the current All Black scrum half is 90, 95 kgs. I mean, they are across the board 10 or 15 kgs heavier, but cut.
Yeah,
and the weights and the physicality now, it's actually becoming a little bit of an issue because you see so many injuries, and I think one of the challenges for rugby is, do you let your children go and play rugby because it's so physical now? And football actually is quite popular in New Zealand now for youngsters, but rugby is still the national game, of course. Yeah. It's so important, but physicality is a challenge for rugby.
So at what point did you transfer out of rugby into cricket? And how was that, given the fact that you must have been of a bigger size and it's a completely different game to play? Yeah,
so I was equally good, I suppose, at both. I played 3 years in the first 15 at school, but I was a pretty talented cricketer, and just down the road was a cricket ground. And we had a really interesting person called John Guy, who a former New Zealand cricketer, and he brought in over professional cricketers to coach in our area. So we had Jeff Houth, who played for New Zealand, John Wright, who played for New Zealand, and they came and coached, and John Guy and these people coached me. So whilst I was in the first 15, I played my first senior game of cricket when I was 10 years old. I used to hang around, and if they were short, and we're only a small community, I'd play. So roll on a couple of years, when I was in my sixth form year, so year 12 in your term, I got picked to play for New Zealand schools. So I played New Zealand schools cricket my last 2 years of school. So I then went, when I left school, I went to training college to become a teacher because I thought it was a pretty cool thing to do. I love the phys ed teacher at school, and I kind of gave rugby away, and I then went on to play cricket professionally for 15 years.
Okay.
And as we talked about before, one of those was going over to England, and when I was quite young.
And how was that? Because what year was that?
So I went over to England as a scholarship player for Nottinghamshire in 1983, and that was brilliant because for Notts at that time they had Clive Rice, Richard Hadley, Derek Randall, crazy mad guy, and they had a lot of England players. Stuart Broad's dad, he was playing there as well. So that was a pretty cool time.
And how is it for you to sort of take that on, as a young man, where back in 1983, there's no internet, there's no phones, there's no Google Maps, you want to make a phone call, you have to take it off the wall and wind it round and everything. And New Zealand, like I said to you before we started recording, my immediate family were in New Zealand at that time. Might as well have been the moon. It's like,
oh, yes.
New Zealand to England was literally the other side of the world, which was a very, very long way away at that time.
So we getting on the flight. So I get on the flight. I'm traveling by myself, but actually a couple of guys, who I knew, coincidentally were on the same flight. So we fly there to the UK. And in those days, people were smoking on the planes,
Yeah.
So we were down the back of the plane, and people were smoking, and I think we stopped in 3 times. And I think one of the places was Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Walkmans had just come out. I, of course, bought the cheapest Walkman that didn't make it to the rest of the journey.
Right.
And we stopped in Bahrain, I think, and guys with guns. Get to London. These guys are picked up because they were playing in Uxbridge, I think. But I was absolutely shattered. Get on a train to go somewhere until I thought I was safe. And for some reason, seriously, I ended up, I went to Seven Oaks in Kent because I knew I had distant family and I knew that area. So I went there, went to a B&B and slept for 24 hours.
God, amazing.
Yeah, I know.
And so then you were playing for Notts?
So I played for Notts.
Yeah.
So I played in the second team. And in the weekends, I went up and played league cricket in Yorkshire. So I played for Elland in the Uddersfield League. So every weekend I went up and played, which is such great fun. And good people, Yorkshire people. And
Yeah.
I was chalky white.
Cricket mad. You know what I mean?
Mad. And you know the great thing about it was in those days, I think they still do a bit, but if you got 50 or got 5 wickets, they took a cap around the crowd and you got the money.
Okay.
So so you'd get kind of 15 or 20 quid that they'd take it round. And I remember I was getting a bit short of money towards the end of the season, and we played in a league cup final. And we won the game. I batted 45 overs for 50, but I got 220 quid. Which was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And after paying a couple of rounds on the bar, that kind of saw me through to the end of the trip.
And how far did your playing career take you?
Yeah, I played for New Zealand.
Amazing.
So I played please, listeners, don't look at my test career, because I got picked to play for New Zealand in 1990, toured Pakistan. I played as an opening batsman.
Wow.
But I faced Waka Yunus and Wasim Akram, 2 of the greatest ever, which was pretty cool. I didn't do particularly well, but it was an amazing experience.
How was it to transition out of club to national and play for your country? You know, an opening batsman, I mean, there's a ton of responsibility with that. You're walking out. What was it like to walk out for the very first time as the opening batsman for your country?
Pretty cool.
I don't want to swear.
We played in we played in Karachi. Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. I was crapping myself, as you can imagine. But it was an amazing experience. I'd played first-class cricket for quite a long period of time, and I initially struggled. I was probably picked too soon. And then it wasn't until I was about 25 that I really started to perform. So I got picked to play for New Zealand when I was 30.
Okay.
So, and I didn't do particularly well, but it was a tough assignment playing in Pakistan, but amazing. We toured Pakistan, 1990, and we toured around Karachi. We played in Karachi, Lahore, Faisalabad, Peshawar, Sialkot, all these places. We actually played in Peshawar, where no one would go now, and we were taken by the military down to the Khyber Pass. Could you imagine that now?
Yeah,
so we went to the Khyber Pass, and they had these big guys with beards and guns, the Mujahideen, I think they would have been there. And you could see tanks because Russia had tried to invade Afghanistan at that time. But we went there. It was the coolest thing. It's my great memory of going to Pakistan. What a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What was what was the best shot or ball or thing that you did playing for New Zealand that you remember?
Oh, I couldn't really remember. I just remember playing against Waka Yunus, who was so quick. He just come on the scene. He nearly took my head off, but he was so quick. I can't really remember a single ball. I just remember the tour and the experience.
I think that people don't understand with cricket, because test matches and everything like that, you know, I can attest this when I was younger. You look at it, and if you don't understand tactically what's happening, and you don't understand what's going on inside the game, it looks boring. But to stand, you know, at the stumps and have one of those guys bowling at you, I mean, just very quickly, how do you even judge the shot? You know, the timing, the what's going through. You have to make split-second decisions.
Yeah, I think it's just you've just practiced it,
Practiced an
muscle
instinct.
memory. You can't anticipate at that speed. It's just muscle memory, what you've been through, and you know, some of these players. You look at the players today; they're just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Athletes. I mean, this guy Brooke, who's playing for England now, it's just incredible. Just incredible.
So you go from opening batsman for New Zealand to CEO of the New Zealand cricket team. I mean, how did that transition?
Yeah, so what I did was I was playing cricket going backwards and forwards. So I was playing in England for a few years, played in Holland for a few years in our winter. And then when I was 28, I thought I didn't want to be a school teacher. I wanted to get into business, the business of sport. So I went back to university full time.
Okay.
And did an accountancy degree, which was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I'm not a natural accountant, mathematician, but I figured that gave me the tools to get involved in business. So I battled like hell for 3 years, had no money, and big student loan. And what paid my student loan off was getting picked to play for New Zealand.
Okay.
So I got my degree and it paid my student loan off. And then I worked as an accountant for a couple of years. And then rugby went professional. And I applied to become CEO of Wellington Rugby and the Hurricanes, which was a professional rugby team. It just started. And the guy took a bit of a punt on me based on, I think, my leadership skills in cricket. And he kind of really admired me going back and studying. So I became CEO of Wellington Rugby and the Hurricanes when I was 34 years old, 35, which was, amazing experience. So we built the Hurricanes brand. So I did 4 years with Wellington Rugby, which was an amazing experience, and then did 5 years with Auckland Rugby and the Blues as well. So I made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot, but it was a tremendous upbringing.
What do you think that he saw in your leadership style?
I think my passion, my drive. I think I'm a natural salesman. And he was prepared to take a punt on me, which was interesting at the time. But I did a great job for them, and I think it worked. And so I've had a great career in sports administration, because after I was at Auckland Rugby for 5 years, I got shoulder tapped to go to Bristol Rugby to be the CEO of Bristol Rugby. So going from a federation model in New Zealand to a model where it was run by wealthy owners in the UK who threw all their business disciplines out the window because they love sport, was a really interesting mix for me.
And sort of define that a little better. How are they throwing their business disciplines
Well, I
out?
think that they had lots of money.
Yeah.
And done incredibly well in their business. But rugby, a lot like the football people, it's their passion. So I think that in a lot of cases, their passion overrode their business disciplines.
Yeah.
And I think rugby in the UK has struggled initially because it's been benefactors who have been paying for it a lot of the time, and as a business, it didn't really wash its face. Although I think that's changing now. So great experience for me. I took the family over, my wife and my 2 children. Loved the West Country in the UK. Great people, and had a fantastic time.
And so from that, you went back to New Zealand
Yeah, so I went back to New Zealand. And
There's a lot of toing and froing.
Oh, there's a lot. Sorry, I hope we're not boring people here, but it's
No. I'm saying for you personally and the family, it's like the trip is extensive. It's
great,
like New
great,
Zealand,
great
England,
experience.
New Zealand, England. You know.
And what we decided when we went to the UK for those 3 years is we wouldn't compromise where we lived, and we had great schools for the kids. So the kids went to Clifton College in Bristol, which is an amazing school. And we made sure we could have as many holidays as we could.
Yeah.
So being at Bristol, we were able to go, Italy, France, Greek islands. We went to the Gambia twice because we wanted sun in winter, so we went there twice. So we had a great time. Some dear friends that we've met there as well. But when I was there, I got approached by a guy called Andrew Burton, late Andrew Burton actually, whose dad, Mike Burton, was one of the pioneers of hospitality. So he set up travel and hospitality companies, and they had the rights to do travel and hospitality for Rugby World Cup. And New Zealand were hosting the Rugby World Cup in 2011. So he approached me to go and run their company for them in New Zealand, which took us back to New Zealand.
And then that segued into the cricket.
Yeah, so I did Rugby World Cup for 3 years, and then
I bet that was awesome.
Amazing. New Zealand Rugby, that was for New Zealand Rugby, 2011, 2015, golden era.
Yeah.
Hugely popular. It was a fun time. And then when I finished the job as CEO of New Zealand Cricket came up, so with my cricket background and my professional sporting background, it was a really nice marriage, and I did that for 11 years.
And you saw them through a very, very successful time. I mean, there was you got to the final of the Cricket World Cup in 2015. Got to the final of the cricket this one day. Got the final of the Cricket World Cup in 2019. And unfortunately, you lost both finals. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. Can I just take you back a little bit?
Yeah, of course you can.
So we're 2012, and New Zealand cricket was a bit of a basket case. We had no money, so we're technically insolvent. And the team had struggled. It was very inconsistent. So what we did early on was we appointed a new coach and appointed a new captain, a guy called Brendan McCullum. He's doing amazing things now with England, and it was an incredible time because Brendan and Mike Hesson, the coach, transformed the team and gave them a whole new belief. And it was quite controversial at the time because we replaced Ross Taylor as captain, who's a fantastic player and has gone on to have one of the great careers for New Zealand cricket. So it was a difficult time, but we got Brendan on board and he really transformed the way we played. So we hosted the World Cup with Australia in 2015. Great crowds, and lost the final, like you said, in Melbourne. And we probably weren't quite ready. But then we went to 2019 where we lost the World Cup at Lord's. Singularly the most difficult, heart-wrenching.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask, because it's difficult to get to a final, for any country, for any club, for any team. Even in world football, you kind of go, okay, Germany, Brazil might get to the World Cup finals like this, but there's never any guarantees. And to get there, you feel lucky, but you always think, we're going to win this, What was it like to be in that position?
We were good. The English conditions suited us right through the tournament because there were conditions similar to New Zealand. Seam bowlers, had to guts it out with a bat. And we were good. We beat India in Manchester in the semi-final. It was a great performance. And we were quite phenomenal in the final. And to lose in a power play was pretty gut wrenching. And I've never watched the final again.
No?
I can't go and watch it. I don't want to. It was.
How close was it? I didn't.
Well,
see
we the scores. The scores were tied after 50 overs, but what actually happened just before the 50 overs was that Ben Stokes was batting with Adil Rashid, and they went for a second run. Martin Guptill throws the ball in from the boundary, and he's got a powerful arm. The ball hits the back of Ben Stokes' bat, an accident, and it goes for 4 overthrows.
Okay.
So it was a 6 instead of probably a 2, or even been run out. And we were cruising at that stage. And the umpires actually made a mistake because they didn't cross. After the boundary, Stokes should have been at the other end.
Okay.
And he went on to
gotcha,
get the runs. So I sound like I'm moaning and bitching, but here. So it was so many circumstances. And then we had a super over. And the scores were tied after the super over. But they won the game because they scored more boundaries than we did.
I read
and no
this,
no one could remember or knew the rule prior to that. And it's just one of those kind of rules. So, yeah, it was... It was one of the great games of cricket. That was phenomenal. And I was so proud of our guys. And the great thing about our team and Kane Williamson and I think Kiwis in general is they didn't bitch and moan. They were very humble.
Yeah.
And they were really dignified the way we lost.
And how difficult was it, the immediate aftermath of that? You know, I mean, for the fans, I'm an England fan, you know, football-wise, been on the receiving end of numerous things because I totally agree. It's not bitching and moaning, you know, it's facts. You know, you watch the game and you're like, there are certain things in sport that I don't agree with, which is like it all evens itself out over time. It's like, well, I'd rather we just did it properly, you know, on the day. Yeah,
I don't think we can complain about the rules. They were the rules were the rules. It was just really unlucky. And a fair play to England, they won it, but it was tough. I think that was the fact that we went on then and won the World Test Championship during COVID was good.
Was it a galvanising moment? You know, how many of the team that lost that game were in the...
A lot.
Yeah. Was it like, right, we're not having this?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was a belief. Yeah, it was pretty much the same guys that won the World Test Championship. Amazing era in New Zealand cricket, and went on to be in the final of the T20 World Cup in Dubai as well. So that team, led by Kane Williamson with Trent Boult, Tim Southey, Ross Taylor, phenomenal, and the greatest period in New Zealand cricket's history.
And what was your relationship like, or your opinion like, to the media? I mean, how is New Zealand media? Are they as brutal as the rest of the world that just like to give you a good kick in afterwards?
No, they were very supportive.
Okay, that's really good.
No, they were full of admiration the way the team played. Media is interesting now, isn't it? I think media's completely different now. Because there's hardly any of it left. It's all, mainstream media is pretty much gone. Yeah. But the media in New Zealand is not too bad. It's not as tough as the UK or Australia. And
then you came to Dubai.
Yeah.
Was that directly after? Did you go through that World Test Championship and you kind of went out on a high? You were like,
yeah, we did. I did left after 11 years and got approached to run the league here, and I was really proud of what I did, both on and off the field. Commercially, we did really well. Left the organisation in a strong final position. Performances have been great. And the really cool thing now is we've still got young players coming through. We developed a system which has been sustainable. So New Zealand is still playing very good cricket, competing at the highest level. We've only got 5 million people.
Yeah.
And to develop a system where we now compete with the best in the world regularly is something I'm very proud of.
And who are your main rivals, Australia or the UK? I always get confused whether sometimes you guys join forces against us.
I think for cricket, they all are. We got a great record against India.
Yeah.
Very good. England's always been a traditional long-term rival, and they've always, right through the history, England's been very supportive of New Zealand cricket. I think our big brother Australia is our bugbear.
Did you beat them?
Probably not enough. I think there is a bit of a mental block when we play Australia.
Okay.
They're good. They're tough.
Yeah.
They are the best cricket team in the world regularly. Yeah. Even though India is very competitive now, week in and week out, I would back Australia against anyone.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I lived in South Africa for a year, and that's when I kind of got into cricket, especially one day. And I from then on, the Ashes and stuff like that, it's like Australia are the team where you don't go, yeah, we're going to win. You think, no, Australia are going to beat everybody.
They're tough.
They're number one.
I think it's really interesting, Australia, because I think their mindset and the way they play, I think it's very much the way they've been brought up, the way they, they've survived in a very tough environment. It's tough in Australia. It's hot, tough place, tough people. You look at the way the country evolved from, the prisoners and things, and seriously, they are hard.
Yeah. And they're a very proud nation.
Oh yeah, but still only 22 million people as well. So hats off to them.
And so coming to Dubai, so is it the ILT20 that brought you here?
Yes. So I got approached to run the league here. Yeah.
And this has been amazing for you.
It's been a really, really interesting experience. So in the UAE, cricket is run by the Emirates Cricket Board, which is not a full member. So tough in the world of cricket if you're not a full member financially.
Okay.
Because they just don't get the funding. So the people that have driven it, Khalid Al Saruni, whose family runs Sports City, amazing man, amazing man, built the stadium, has built the academy, and to have the foresight to build the stadium when there was nothing else there. If you look at the photographs, it was like a mile out in the country, out in the desert. So his vision to build the stadium was phenomenal, and supported by a gentleman called Mubashir Usmani. He's a really entrepreneurial guy driving cricket here. That's been fantastic. So the thing I really like about the job, and one of the things that drew me to the job, was to support the development of cricket in the UAE. So the league is really important for that. So for every game, we always have two Emiratis, not Emiratis, but people from the UAE playing in the game. So the development of cricket in the UAE has really been facilitated by DP World ILT20. They now playing in the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, which is going to be in January, February in India. So that's been helped by ILT20. And also they're now competing regularly against big countries. So that has been really exciting for me. And the other thing I really like now that we've been able to drive is girls playing cricket. When I first arrived, there was 150 girls playing. Now there's well over 2,000, and that's fantastic.
And what are some of the sort of initiatives that you've brought over from when you were managing the New Zealand team to implementing into this tournament?
I think girls is a big one, big part of our culture now, girls playing cricket. Before every game, we have junior cricket played an hour before the players arrive. So the kids are experiencing cricket on the ground, which is really well received. We've now formalised and brought back the secondary schools competition, which is backed by DP World as well. So we start that again in a couple of weeks. I think there's 42 secondary schools teams playing in a competition. and they'll play a final. So we've been able to use DP World ILT20 as a driver for development of cricket in the region.
And so how do you go about selecting the franchise teams?
So the teams, so we don't get involved in selection ourselves. So we've sold the teams, and the teams select the players. But for the first time, we had an auction.
Yeah, I was there for an hour.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was there for an hour. I
good.
thought it was brilliant, you know.
What'd you think?
Well, I think that cricket, like I said, when I was younger, cricket was something that if you didn't understand it, you couldn't really watch 5-day tests. People that don't know find it very boring. I did, definitely. But then one day cricket came along and I was like, okay, for me personally, I think the best format for cricket is one day. I think T20 is a bit too much like baseball. Do you know what I mean? And it's over very quickly. But of course, 5 days, you can't really commit to watching the whole thing. One day cricket is enough overs for there to be real tactics and real drama. It's not just a slugfest. And of course, it goes on for long enough for you to get very, very invested. And so, again, it strikes me as a type of sport that needed some sort of evolution to make it maybe more appealing and more exciting. And I think that when they brought along the IPL, which I thought was, I'd say, sporting genius, to bring in a tournament where you start to bid and auction players. Because I remember at the time, I think it was 2008, I think, when you were just thinking, what's going on? Like, you are literally auctioning players, buying a team together, and then putting some of the world's best alongside each other and see what happens with great, interesting names for the teams and everything like that. And this tournament's based on that type of format. So to see the auction, I thought it was excellent.
So I think, listen, you make some really, really interesting points. I think the IPL has been genius. And we now as a sport got 3 formats that people follow. But T20 has been the big money spinner from a broadcast point of view. Great amount of time. And India, it's been a perfect storm, hasn't it? India, what was 18% of the world population now, love cricket.
Yeah, they're
and a middle class that's growing. So I've got the money now for pay-to-view TV. The broadcast revenues is just phenomenal. So coming back to your other point about the formats, I love Test cricket. I'm a traditionalist, but I really like one-day cricket as well because I kind of call it a test match in a day.
Yeah,
So it's really cool. But T20 has been the format that has brought all these people to come and watch. And the auction is amazing. So the other day we had an auction, which was really good. And some of our local players got huge money. One of our local players got 160,000 US, which is for a month's work.
Which is a lot of money. You know?
For a month's work. So it's been great. And we are now established as a big league here. And our challenge now is to make it mainstream here in the UAE. So whilst we're getting good television viewership in India on Z and around the world, big focus for me is to make sure that we get local people coming to watch the cricket. And one of the challenges that we have is that the Indian community, which is fantastic, great here, but the Indian community love watching Indian players and Indian teams. So converting them and other followers to come and watch other teams play is our biggest challenge. But we're doing a lot of work this year on, going out to a wider demographic of people. We have the South Asian community here, which are tremendously supportive, but we want to get the Brits, the South Africans, the Aussies, the Kiwis, the Emiratis to come and watch cricket as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that T20 is the perfect format for it because, like you say, it's a slugfest. You have 20 overs to smash it as many runs as possible. And so you get quite a high turnover of the games. And what I think also is very good about it is that there's a much more of a party atmosphere with everybody. I mean, the things I've watched on television, there's always, big shots, there's music, there's, all types of entertainment going on. What steps can you take then to really try and make it appealing, like you say, to a community that just want to watch their own players? What are you doing in the stadium, in the grounds and stuff like that to sort of make it more showpiece?
So involving the community. So this year we have a fan village. We're really going to build the Christmas theme this year. So we're going to have obviously up till the 25th of December. We're going to have a Santa's Grotto in the stadium as well, where kids are going to come and get presents. So it'll be very much a family atmosphere as well. A lot of music, local music, kids playing cricket, interactive, fun music, good food, and that type of thing is very important. And we just want people to come and have fun. And the great thing about the UAE this time of year is that time of year, we're starting on the 4th of December. The weather is amazing.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, it's just coming good now, isn't it? I mean, it's a lovely time of year. And we've bought it earlier this year, so it's prior to Christmas. It will be school holidays a lot of the time, but it'll be a really good opportunity for families to come along without the pressure of school and things as well, no exams. So they can come along, have some fun, and the prices are really cheap, like 10 dirhams a ticket, and a lot of complimentary things as well. We just want people to come along, have fun, bring the family along and have a blast.
And there's a hot, because I was at the auction, and again, I'm not super well versed in cricket. I kind of know the cliched big names. Do you know what I mean? But sort of how big are the international stars that are going to take place in this? Big.
We've got pretty much a whole West Indian T20 team. Got a guy called Nicholas Pooran, who's I think the best T20 batsman in the world. We've got some Kiwis, Tim Southey, Adam Milne, big guys. We had David Warner last year. He's not playing this year. We've got about 70% of the English T20 team.
Okay, cool.
Sam Curran, a lot of the guys that have just been playing. So big names that'll be coming along. Not as many South Africans because they've got their league at the same time. Quite a few Aussies, a lot of Brits, and our local players as well. So we've got big name players which are going to come and have to make it a very competitive competition. And what's happening around the world now is that teams, especially we've got 4 IPL teams, so they've got teams around the world now. So like Emirates have got an IPL team, Mumbai Indians. They've got a team in South Africa. They've got a team in America. They've got a team now in the 100 as well. So they're establishing themselves as a global entities. So we've got quite a few of them. So it's becoming very competitive. So a lot of the players are playing for the same team around the world. And I think in the future, what you're going to see, if I look at what cricket's going to look in 5 years' time, I think it's going to be quite similar to football, where you're going to have big clubs like Man United, Liverpool, but these guys all have 4 or 5 teams around the world. You'll have international cricket and a global event, and then you have some test cricket as well. So these franchises are establishing themselves as big entities, and they're going to get a following in their own right as well.
And are you planning to expand the amount of franchise teams that take part in this tournament over time? I mean, I think the Football World Cup in America next year is going to be 48 teams. Yeah, which I'm personally a bit like, I hope there's not too many. What you could say is uneventful games. Yeah. So
really interesting question, Sam. We've just entered into strategic alliances with Saudi cricket and Kuwait. So we're having some events over there next month in Kuwait and Saudi. And I think the way it's going to go is I think that we're going to expand the league. And some of the teams that are currently playing in Sharjah, Dubai, or Abu Dhabi might be based in Saudi and Kuwait. Because one of the challenges that we do have is that we've got 6 teams in a very small area. So it's quite hard to build that tribalism. Mm-hmm. There are 2 teams in Abu Dhabi, 2 teams, well, basically 3 teams in Dubai and 1 team in Sharjah. So I think that in years to come, we'll probably look to expand that. And then by having teams, a team in Saudi, a team in Kuwait, etc., you'll probably get a little bit more rivalry and nationalistic approach to it as well.
I think also Saudi, the UAE, much to the benefit is they're constantly expanding as a country. You know, it's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, I've been here 10 years. And I don't think I've noticed, I think I said it to somebody the other day, that I'd love to go back and drive around and somebody point out to me, you know, when you first got here, that wasn't here, that wasn't here, that wasn't here, because it's non-stop construction. And if you sort of drive further afield, you know, out further into the desert, there's just these massive housing communities opening. And I think that as the city expands and expands and expands and becomes a lot more multicultural and cosmopolitan, which it is doing, you know, that's where I think the much needed, because like you say, the word I latched onto there was tribalism. One of the biggest things in sport that is so important is the tribalism, where it's your team, you are associated with them, and nothing changes that. And it's like we're kind of going to war. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that you know, it's got to have context. It's got to be some jeopardy. It's got to have something. So yeah, I agree. I've been here just over 2 years now, and I can't believe the construction is just booming. I find the UAE a fascinating country.
Yeah.
And you know, hats off to the people running the country. I mean, it's not a democracy like we know it. So they're not limited by the constraints of what we see around the world now. I mean, in my view, democracies don't work anymore. There's so much red tape and stuff that goes on. But look at this country. It's phenomenal.
If they want to do it, they do it.
I know. And it's so refreshing.
That's my biggest takeaway from living here, which is living here, watching the news about the UK, and it's not anything to do with politics and who runs the country, but it is about, like you say, it's about the red tape. It's about getting things done. I think there's a project in the UK, they call it HS2, which is to build a train that I think it goes from Liverpool to the coast. Of course, these things are not easy, but I think they've been talking about this for 20 years. For 20 years. And I remember watching something on the news where it went through Parliament and they got something approved and they said, okay, now we can start the next phase, but construction wouldn't start still for another 10 years. And you're like, and you live here, yes, of course, it's much, much smaller, you know what I mean? But you live here and they're like, what they're doing to the roads at the moment to actually make all the connections to make the traffic a lot easier, you're just suddenly driving to work one day and there's just construction and they just build it.
You know what I love about that?
It's a fantastic ethic.
You know what I love about the leaders here is they don't think a year out or 2 years out. They think generations out. And that's one thing I've learned from Khaled at Sports City. He doesn't talk about, he talks about generations. And I love that. And it's something that, you know, us people from, you know, the Western world of the democracies are something we've got to learn.
Let's hope so. Well, look, believe it or not, we're almost out of time. But there are two questions that I'd like to ask about my personal, about meeting somebody that's dealt with high-level sportsmen, you know, and been one yourself. What is like one thing that a fan does not appreciate or understand about a top-level sportsman? In the context of, I'll give you a little bit more context, is that there have been certain television shows that have come out, which is the F1 show Drive to Survive, and there's been the Amazon behind the scenes in the Premier League football clubs. And you watch a couple of those and you start to really resonate with who these people are. And you kind of see that they go through a lot whilst actually performing, you know, playing. But in football, you look at it and you go, you're on 100 grand a week. What's wrong with you? You should be perfect. You know, what is it being mentally, what is it like being a top level sportsman? And kind of like I said, what's one of the things that we the fans don't understand?
Can I give you an example of probably the one person I think is a genius is Kane Williamson. Now, Kane's one of the great batsmen in the world. And he has I think he's a genius. He has an ability to get into an almost hypnotic state and perform at a level which is just phenomenal. And he's worked at that over, I think a lot of it is inherent. He's, I remember talking to his dad, he recognised him as a young 2 or 3 year old. He said he loved basketball. He just kept throwing the ball into the hoop. It was quite unbelievable. So he's obviously got a phenomenal hand-eye coordination. But his ability to get into this hypnotic state to be able to perform and then switch on and switch off when they play. And one of the things that we've really worked hard on in New Zealand cricket to make the team more successful on the field is to try and ensure that the players have an identity outside of cricket. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we worked very hard on having a program where the guys could study or do something else that meant that they were not dependent on the sport for the rest of their lives. So whether they'd done a degree or they'd done a trade or something, so that they were not that desperate to succeed because they put themselves under so much pressure that they had an identity outside of the sport which gave them the ability to take the pressure off themselves as well. And I think that's been really successful at New Zealand cricket. Unfortunately, some sports people can't do that. Mm-hmm. And after sport, their identity is their sport. And they haven't got the mechanism to deal with life after sport. And there's been a lot of casualties.
Yeah, 100%.
So giving that identity outside of sport is really important.
Okay. And after spending a lifetime in cricket, if you could change one rule, what would it be? Or one thing?
Able to have substitutes.
Oh, okay.
It's a crazy game because if you get injured in cricket, you can't replace a player.
I've never thought of that. Yeah, you're right.
So you're playing 5 days. Someone breaks a leg, you can't replace them.
Actually, have you ever campaigned for that?
There's quite a bit going on now about replacing.
Why does it get pushed back? It seems very obvious.
No, but I think it's something that will come. I think. That's one thing that's kind of very traditional and something that we need to change.
Well, look, this has been really, really good. I feel very grateful and honoured to sit down with someone like yourself and talk about the things you've done. As with all Tasty Humans guests, I always like to ask at the very end, like out of your entire life and work and philosophies and everything you've been through, if you could only give one piece of advice to anybody coming up through the ranks that wants to follow in your footsteps, what would it be?
I think that no one is bigger than the game. Mm-hmm. And I think that enjoy the game, respect whatever sport you play. No one's bigger than it, and have fun. I think having fun and enjoying it is the most important thing.
Fantastic. David, thank you so much for coming down, and I'm really looking forward to this tournament. It's going to be really, really entertaining. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you very much. And I really enjoyed thank you.
Excellent. No problem.